This is Jasmina, and in this video, I'm going to talk about different ways of accumulating wealth. Now, I do have other videos that I've talked about wealth, and I've discussed the idea of wealth storage. And I presented a table that looks at least something like this. And this table is created from the information from this website. It's not, the whole table is not there. Now, the important things are your day master and the storage branch. So if you are a wood day master, if you have a dog in your chart somewhere, or even in a given luck pillar, that if it's in the luck pillar during those 10 years, you have an ability to save money. And if it's in your natal chart, you always have the ability to save money. And so if you're a fire day master, you're looking for the ox. Now, this is your wealth element. It's always the element your day master controls, so that makes sense. And if you want to know whether your earth element is strong, first off, it needs to be, your wealth element is strong. It needs to be fairly high level in your chart, but it also needs to have something that produces it, that produces the element. So fire produces earth, earth produces metal, and so forth. And the more of this you have, the more supported your wealth element is. Now, this all comes from a poem, of course, all these things do. And it says you do need to have some sort of conflict to be able to make money. And that seems a little weird, but you will note that the best year for earning always clashes with your storage branch, whatever your storage branch happens to be. Now, if you don't have the dog in your chart and you have a wood day master, the dragon year is not necessarily your best year for wealth because you don't actually have the clash. So it's not clear what is the best year. Probably the one you work the hardest. But this is what this whole chart means. And this does come from the information. They did talk only about the wood day master there, but there's enough there that I can create this whole chart. Now, if you are missing that storage animal, it is said you can earn money, but you're not able to save money. That's what is said. Now, in my case, I don't have the required storage animal, but I'm a good saver, so that left me a bit mystified. But then again, BAZi is only 1/3 of what makes you you. Your life experiences and where you live in terms of opportunity also makes a difference. Now, this I recently ran across, and there are some date selection days that are labeled wealth storage days. And these days can be used if you are missing the required storage animal. I also think that if you have this combination that makes up the date selection days in your BAZi chart, in your natal chart, that might take the place of the required wealth storage animal, and you may be able to save pretty easily. I have not read this by any in any other place, but I would like to test out this idea because I think it does make a little bit of sense. So if you have a pair of the wealth storage animals that come through the date selection in your natal chart in any order, I would like to hear about your ability to save and invest money. And this, I want to see whether or not this works. Now, when I talk about being a good saver, basically what I'm talking about is living below your means, where you can pay off your credit cards in full every month and all your regular bills and still have some money left over so that if an emergency situation comes along or a new thing comes along, like you need something repaired, like your car or something in your house, you have the money to pay for it. So this is the rules or the table that you can find the wealth storage date selection formation. So during the tiger month, any dragon day is a wealth storage day. The rabbit month, it'll be the snake day, and so forth. Now you might want to take a screenshot of this because I'm going to shrink this chart so that I have enough room to do some discussion below it. So if you have the combination, again, of the month and the day annual in any order, any place in your chart, I would like to know if you're able to save money easily. And so you just look through there and see, do you have it? Now I have a rabbit day and an ox month, and right here it is. And it's even in the right place. I had the ox month and the rabbit day. Now I don't know whether or not that's a requirement that it be that way, but that may explain why I can save money when and I don't have a lot of desire for stuff. You know, to me, it's just other things you got to take care of, and did I really get the money's worth out of it? Most of the time, no. So I don't spend a lot of money beyond basic needs. Now, my husband has the standard wealth storage branch, and he has one of these formations that happen to be in his day and his hour. And that may make him even more unwilling to spend money. And he is a better saver than I am. I mean, he could live with basically not spending any money beyond the basics except for books. He would be willing to spend a certain amount of money on books. And that's it. Otherwise, he's fine. As long as he has a roof over his head, he has enough to eat, he can pay the utilities, he has a car that is functional. His car is 20 years old, mine is 12 years old, but they're still okay. So we don't see any need to replace them. Now, if you don't have any of this, you can still use these dates. And you can use them to help you accumulate wealth. And there are ways to use this. One of the best ones is to analyze your spending habits, determine what you can cut, like subscriptions you don't use anymore, or you can delay. Maybe you wait for the price to come down. Don't buy, something when it first comes out. So, like I say, you can cancel unused subscriptions, wait on new products because the prices come down pretty soon. Don't buy the top of the line, when it first comes out. It's simply really a waste of money. So another really good way to use this is focus on what is a want and what is a need, and find a way that when you are tempted to buy something, you can make this decision, is it a want or a need? Now, I'm not saying you have to get rid of all your wants, but you have to know whether it's a want or a need, and that can help you decide whether or not to buy it. Now, the easiest way to do this is actually look at what you already own and decide what things you have bought that you found that you haven't actually used, but especially if you can remember really thinking you wanted it at that time, then that gives you some sort of a window of where that line is between a want and a need. Now, a need is pretty simple. Of course, it's like something to keep you alive. But there are things that are kind of gray in there. For example, we survived without computers for a long time, until, it's personal computers, that is, for a very long time. Certainly when I was born, personal computers didn't exist. In fact, they didn't exist until I was perhaps in graduate school. So, but I can't imagine living without a computer now, and I couldn't be doing these videos without a computer. So for me, a computer is a need, but not an expensive computer, not the top of the line. I just have a certain amount that I need. Now, I did recently buy a new computer because my old computer was struggling to keep up, and I just couldn't. I couldn't produce the videos without deleting an old one because I just had no room left. So it was time to get a new computer, and it was also struggling in other ways. It wasn't so reliable anymore. Now, beyond food and shelter, really, almost everything else is a want. But again, there's kind of halfway between there. Now, my old computer I just replaced was something like 10 years old, so I don't buy computers very often. So this is what I mean, is that when you need it, yes, you can replace it, but you can't expect to do this all the time. Now, these are also good things for researching investments. Really good dates for this. And this can help you basically first to practice it. That is, you don't actually spend the money, because before you invest, you should save 6 months of emergency funds. And these emergency funds are enough to see you through your basic living expenses if you lose your job. So this would be cutting out all kinds of things that you may like to use, but like a gym membership or something like this. Those are not basic living expenses. Those are perks. So this is just talking your mortgage, your food, your insurance, things like this. Now, this does go up every year, so every year you have to add a little bit into this. You could have this in a money market fund, which gives you a decent amount of interest. It doesn't keep up with inflation though, but this would just sit there, and this is what you tap into when you have an emergency. And then when the emergency is over, you have to refill it. This will keep you from being homeless most of the time, but a lot of people don't have this. So you should not consider investing until you have this. Now, you can practice virtual investing while you're saving up these 6 months of emergency funds, which usually takes months and months, many more than 6 months. Sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years to do, depending on how much extra money you have. Now, virtual investing, what I mean by this is that on one of these days, you determine a small number of theoretical investments. You note the cost, the price of that investment. If we're talking about stocks, it's easy, but you could do that with crypto also. You note that, and then you also note the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, or whatever your standard country's stock exchange is, and you note that level. And after 3 months and 6 months, maybe every 3 months, like 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, see if you did better than the stock market. And this will tell you if you're able to pick stocks without risking any money. And since you still need to accumulate that funds, that's good, because most people don't have this. Don't have that 6 months of emergency funds. Now, if you are able to cut out your wants, you'll be able to create this 6 months emergency funds. That means after that, well, maybe you can do more of your wants again. But this is really important. And if you can't do better on average than the stock market, just invest in a very cheap stock market fund, mutual fund, and you will do better than you will do, and you don't have to hassle with paying somebody to help you find something. And if you just don't do very good yourself, if you do really good yourself, that's fantastic. But you have to be honest, and you have to check every single thing that you looked at, not throw out the ones that didn't earn money, that lost more when the market gained, something like this. You really have to be honest with yourself, and that'll save you a lot of grief in the long run. And really, a simple market-driven, your stock market-driven fund is actually one of the easiest things to do. And if you have the ability to live within your means, this will do you a lot better good in the long run. And you don't have to hassle with trying to figure out which is good investments. It takes a lot of work, so. Or you could just do mutual funds that consistently do better than the market. You do have to pay a few fees, but it's less than if you're paying an individual to help you do certain stocks. So that's it. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I hope this gives you some other ways of being able to accumulate wealth, because if you don't, when you retire, you will probably find that your whatever you are, what is equivalent to Social Security in the United States, won't be enough to have a comfortable life. And this is why you need to save and invest. Of course, if you don't think you're going to make it to that age and you're just going to continue working, that's okay too. That isn't another way of doing it. I don't know that it works out very well, but this is your decision, and you should try to be as wise as possible. But thanks again for watching.